sports fan, Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Play CSGO? Discover more than 5 various kinds of bets just for a single map. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Getting tired of playing with the usual skins, but don't have enough money to buy a new one? Get rich fast with CSGoFast.com. CSGoFast. It's a strong chance of winning in every game. Several rooms with different game modes. Daily, more than 1,000 games, 5,000 players, and 25,000 skins at stake. You don't need much in order to sweep the board.
Welcome to the Starladder I-League Star Series Season 2. We are here with our first quarter-final. My name is TomBiz14. Joining me will be Flakes, and the game we will be witnessing today is Flipside versus Dignitas.
I want to kick things off as an opener and say that these are the sort of matches that I love, because I feel like when we get to this stage of the tournament, we go further and further away from just relying on this aim-based play, and we start really mounting the pressure on these tacticians.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the nice things about this matchup is we have 2 really strong tacticians. We have Imbecile, of course, and we also have Blade. And he's put in a ridiculous amount of work in the past into games. So I think to preface this one, the biggest thing for me is going to be preparation. Yeah,
of course. We already know a little bit about this matchup from past meetings, although recently neither of the teams have been playing too much. Obviously, it has been that sort of break period after E-League. We didn't really see anything from Flipside. And talking of E-League, that was a pretty poor performance from them, getting, well, the last match anyway, 16-5 twice versus Renegade, which is a team that, well, historically you'd think they should be able to beat, shouldn't have too much trouble with, and just sort of fell off the face of the earth after that. For Dignitas, they sort of had some problems. They ended up switching out a player for Magisk, and, well, yesterday they weren't too convincing considering they're against a team that realistically they should be far better than.
But the thing about yesterday, and my biggest problem with yesterday's performance on a whole, was the fact that Config was non-existent. He only really showed up in the third map, and even then, he was still struggling in the third map. And, well, albeit there are rumoured reasons to why he maybe started to struggle again in the third map. I think there were points made about ping and such like that. But overall, he still struggled. He still didn't show up at all in that series, and that led to a kind of a fairly bleak performance. But let's talk about maps.
Yeah, this is where things got a little bit interesting for me, because historically, Flipside used to be very, very happy playing Cobblestone. Now, either this is a tactical ban, they just don't want to play it. The train ban from Dignitas is definitely that. They let it through yesterday. There was no chance they were letting it through today. World Edit can single-handedly win that map against some top-tier teams, so you would never want that in the pool. That would just be insane. Then you'd sort of look at some of the other bans, and, well, it did get a little bit interesting. I think that is actually wrong, though, because Mirage is on there twice. I imagine that was meant to be Cash, which was banned out by Dignitas, because that was a map that we've just seen what Flipside could do against NIP. Tactically, they beat a team that was supposed to be one of the best at that map at the time, or their best map, I should say. So there we go, sorted now. And, well, then we look at the actual maps that were picked, and we go on to the sort of the overpass pick. I don't think either team will be too unhappy about that. Mirage, a map that Dignitas were pretty happy to play all the way through this tournament. And then we get to Nuke, and this is where I'm a little bit surprised, because I would have thought the Flipside would have rather played Cobble than Nuke. That was just something personal. I do sort of think that since Bondic has left, their Cobble game hasn't been quite as strong. It was always a map that he was very, very good at. Saw that when he joined Hellraisers, and that was something like he continued to play very well on that map. Obviously, that combination with him and Oscar was great for a little while until Oscar has now unfortunately left. But that's sort of the reason I could see that going. Also, Dignitas, that is one of the maps that they are very, very good at. I think we've seen every single team they played so far ban out Cobble against them, and there's a pretty good reason for that. That is probably their best map. Now we look towards the map that we're actually going to be going into, which is Mirage. And, well, who would you favour in this map?
Mirage is a rough one, because for me, it's a mixture of that aim-based style map, and it's also, again, going back to that tactician point. Overall, a lot of people are looking towards Flipside in this series, but personally, I've got to say I'm feeling the Dignitas side of things. I do feel like that if Config can show up today, just a refreshed mind, a refreshed set of skills, overall as a team, they did show some cohesion. They were playing overall, well. There was just a few lacking elements.
Well, I think the bets actually agree with you quite heavily. The Dignitas side of things going very much for the Danish side of the coin. I do have to say that there's a lot of factors for me that do come into sort of play here. World Edit is a player who can almost completely turn a game on its head. If he is on point, well, I think we've seen him break records with the amount of kills he's managed to get in a half. So we know for a fact that this guy can just go straight off the chains. Markelov's another one. Everybody's always spoken about his sort of potential as a player, and sometimes he does hit that peak where everybody goes, oh, maybe this is it, and then it never quite seems to happen the way that you want it to. You also have Waylander, another sort of player who can just go insane and a lot of times can be quite inconsistent. We've seen maps, for example, when he was still over on Gambit, where he just single-handedly took over Envious, which is not really, especially on that map, Cash, one that they were always particularly good at or had been for quite a while. For one player of really unknown stature to just come in and do that was insane. But that's sort of the thing with this lineup, especially when we go online. Because at LANs, they sort of have this little bit about them where you feel like Blade has done a hell of a lot of research. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows how to counter people. Take NIP. That was a perfect counter play. They beat them 16-2 on Cash. That wasn't on the cards by anybody's imagination. But when we get to online stages, sometimes just something does not click. We saw it like during the Invitational. We saw problems in these sort of matches against teams they should have been beating. And I think that's always been a thing with Flipside, where it's sort of like, I don't want to say godsend, the now godsend, but the godsend before that ridiculous mix-up happened, where you'd say, yeah, LAN, great. Second they're online, you go, what, how? How are you not winning these games? How is this not going your way? You should be winning these. And that's what I always look at when I see Flipside. And, well, the Renegades thing on LAN, that was sort of madness, but I wouldn't say that they're any sense, like, outranked here by Dignitas. Like, it's not like a tier difference. I'd say that realistically Dignitas probably has that potential to be a crazy good side, especially with the addition of Magisk, but I'm still looking for them to hit that stride, and well, now this is a decent team. Now we're going to see what they're made of.
In a nutshell, that is perfectly it. Historically speaking, of course, we've actually seen that sway much more in favour in a sort of 2-5 fashion towards Dignitas. They have, of course, taken, well, a nice advantage. But stats and historics aside, we're now going to be going straight into play. And it's going to be the Julies coming on the board. Wayland going to be the man toward those. Dignitas, well, they've gone for the quad armor buy. Fairly expected stuff. The HG and Flash coming into the hands of Magisk. Over on the flip side of things, well, 3 sets of body armor. The utility plate being Blade, of course. Nothing new there. But it's already going to be the first strike rolling. Rubino just going to be tapping away. A quick trade coming in from Shara. He's going to be doing the work with the Glock. But Shara going to come in with a second frag. That's a huge impact alone. He's going to try and find a third. Pulls it off. Takes down Config. And already Dignitas looking hugely on the back foot. Flipside, they're going to be going into this one with a very explosive fashion. Now just going to be trying to get themselves over on towards the B side. They're going to be Waylander just doing the work with the Julies.
Yeah, this is all going to leave it onto one-man MSL. He had a good performance yesterday, but that always scares me a little bit when you're in-game leaders at the top of the board. He will have to go straight to the top of the board if he wants to take this round. Doesn't have a kit. So really has to do this very quickly with 4 players to find. I feel like the likelihood is pretty damn slim at this stage. Going to be pushing on towards Waylander, going for those taps and not quite going to find anything just yet. And this is leaving quite a problematic scenario now as Markelov will just end his life.
A decisive round rolling out from Flipside. There really was no fault at all. Shara, certainly the props have to roll towards him. Quick 3 frags being found with a Glock. The third follow-up just being so smooth over towards Short. And overall, Dignitas, well, they struggled to respond. But now this is their opportunity. We are seeing the 3 sets of head armor coming into play, 2 sets of body armor on MSL and Magisk. And well, overall, it's going to be the full force up with these pistols, looking to try and upset Flipside very early on into this game.
Yeah, this is, well, the sort of standard force buy. A little bit of utility available, but mainly just the pistols and no sort of deagle play, which is something I'm quite surprised by. Config and MSL, in fact, did do some nice work with those deagles yesterday. As we previously mentioned, there wasn't too much to really rave about on the config side of things, but the fact is they did get away with it yesterday. Today, I'm not so sure that will be the case. Quite a risky buy coming out from the flip side of things. They've only managed to go for 1 rifle. The rest is all SMGs and even just a pistol onto World Edit. So really looking to see what sort of strategy they're going to go for and how reliable Markelov can be, especially when he doesn't have any head armor.
Flipside are playing this one fairly precariously, though. Not taking too many risks when it comes down to map positioning. As well, they are all stacked up over towards B. We only see one player really being the core anchor. It will be Magisk. We've seen this B site work wonders at times. We've also seen it struggle, but now it's going to be them putting the test. It's going to be Conflict to find the verse, tapping away with the CZ, but unfortunately, ammo not going to be in his favour. The return frag will come in. Markelov and Blade going to be doing the work, but Markelov kills his teammate. That's huge alone as Cajun B now going to be tapping away. He's given so much room with this 5-7 to find 2. Goes to a third, finally getting punished by Shara, but he has so much to find. but not enough opportunities to do just that. And it's going to be dignitas walking away with a round on the board, and some crucial mistakes being made by Flipside very early on into this game.
Yeah, that's not a round you want to be seeing going to the CT side. And, well, spoke about the risk of only having one rifle. That's sort of it. Wasn't able to do too much. Shara was left in a 1 versus 3, and, well, that's sort of the problematic scenario that they're now in. We do have 4 rifles on that CT-sided board. Nothing really in the hands of the Ts. They've just got some pistols to try and play with them. Already looking at Rubino, just going to be trying to tap these frags away.
Config will be the man looking to make some money. He's got that UMP in hand, just going to be rattling some shots down towards the tips of mid, looking towards underpath. Perfect knowledge play coming into effect, and he's just completely outbrained Flipside. Found so many frags with the SMG. MSL going to be the man to finish it off. Well, you can see because they're fairly happy about that one. As now they've got themselves perched with a lead, something not all we expected with the outcome of that pistol round. But of course, it's going to be that 2-1 scoreline. Take a look at Dignitas buy. Well, they're actually looking fairly solid. They're starting to build up a little bit of cash in play. They have got those 2 Famises in the UMP still being fielded in the hands of Config. But overall, it's looking good. Flipside, however, well, they're putting everything they've got back into this round. It's going to be 4 rifles, an okay chunk of utility, but for the most part, the risky play, it's going to be Markov with the Tech-9.
Yeah, this is a bit of an interesting buy coming out from the T side. The Tech-9 is a little bit of a falter, but it allows some nades on the board. Are looking towards the CT setup. As we've seen already, their setup yesterday was actually really weak. It was their T side that was phenomenal, and everything else sort of fell apart. Markolov could be given a free kill here, completely blind. He's going to miss a lot of shots and actually taken down by Rubino. It's back to a 4v4 as Waylander quickly finds another, and now Blade looking for more. This is looking pretty good now for the T-side CTs. They have a little bit of utility, a kit onto Magisk, but they're going to have to make a big play coming in from the retake.
Asian Beach just going to be the man lurking towards Connector. He spots out Shara, just goes to the shots with the Famas, nearly makes a mess of things, but finally finds the frag. Magisk looking to repeat similar effect over towards CT, just going to be tapping away with the M4, but it doesn't look like anything is going to be found his way just yet, but finally goes for the repeat. Wayland going to be the man to actually punish him. I mean, unfortunately, well, this discipline effect that Dignitas have tried to inflict, it has not paid off, as now one man is there to try and clutch out this round, the 1 versus 3. He's picked up an AK-47. Well, as you can see, it's evident he is going for the save. There is no opportunity for him to claw his way back into this round. The only thing that may present itself will be those exit impact frags.
Yeah, at least he upgrades to an AK. May not be the worst case scenario for Dignitas. We'll have to look at the economy, but Flipside were pretty quick to get this one back into contention. As already mentioned, the Dignitas CT side was quite weak yesterday, and they were able to sort of bring it back on the T side. In fact, I think they only lost 1 round, or maybe not even any. It was a ridiculous sort of standpoint for them to come back from after, I think it was a 10-5 half, but we are now looking to see what they can do on the CT side, and I don't think they're going to get away with as much on the CT side of Flipside, especially if World Edit's on point. That's going to be a big factor for me, that sort of mobile AWPing style, the player who can just go absolutely ham on occasions, but obviously we're still on this T side. We will see a buyback up as a little bit of bonus money that they're able to collect from picking up those rifles previously. We'll be able to do them a little bit in terms of this round. Not going to have a huge amount of utility. Magisk will have the majority of it. And really, we're looking towards Cajun. He's the one who has that AWP. Going to go for a little bit of aggression early on, but not anything too crazy just yet. Going to go all the way out onto short and try and find something.
I do want to weigh in and say that I do feel like Shara is also a player I'm going to be watching this game. A lot of people, well, they've been giving him a lot of flack. Well, we've already seen a fairly nice performance from him to kick things off, so I do feel like it's somewhat undeserved. But overall, I'm looking to see a nice little performance from him this entire series to really prove, well, in other words, people wrong in terms of his performance, because we've seen him do some nice work in the past. Of course, that clock is going to be ticking down. Shara himself actually going to be going for the push up towards mid. Cajun B just going to be holding this angle with the AWP. Potential to find a frag, but he's going to miss the shot. Gets tagged down to 50 HP. The emergency smoke going to be popping out with a flash. Not going to be doing too much, but nice. Cajun B going to dunk him with an nade. Takes down Shara. Wayland going to be lurking up towards Palace. We do seem fairly aggressive play coming out from Flipside, but they're not too centered. The bomb, of course, over towards Connector. Blade going to be there just backing up his teammate, looking for a frag, but he's going to be punished by Config, just tapping away from window. Connects the shots. Now looking for one more. Spots out well, just for the corner of the smoke, but will he go for the shots? Not quite get a connected as faded to the end of the thing, maybe just not quite seeing through the edges, as now they're going to be going on the aggressive front. Config looking to deliver that killing blow. Does just that, takes down Wayland. Wayland going to be trading things straight back, but he's going to do even more. Finds a second frag, takes down MSL. The Molotovs going to be just bearing down towards jungle. More Flipside, they are in a bit of an awkward scenario.
Yeah, they are getting slowly closed in. Config's going to have to go pretty big in this scenario, as he's the only player actually around the site at all. bomb going to be planted through the box. He's going to be able to grab one, and in the meantime, his teammate's going to get tagged to 18 HP. It's all down to Markelov. Cajun is low, so there's potential, but never mind. Magisk will end this round, and that's going to be the 3-2, I should say, in favor of Dignitas.
A strong round coming to the board from Dignitas. It looked like at times he was starting to lose touch. We saw a bit of messy play coming out from Config towards window, but he made it work. He found 3 frags in the round. Can't knock him at all for doing just that. Cajun B, he found a pick with the AWP, or should I say the HE grenade dunk towards short, which was an interesting use of utility. But if it works out, I'm not going to question it. We'll see a bit of a pause roll in. I'm hoping, I can always guarantee it's not going to be a tactical pause. That'd be a bit crazy this early on. So I'm going to assume it's of a technical nature, and I think we'll wait to see if that one is confirmed. Of course, this does give us a fairly early on point. Of course, we don't want to read too much into this one, but it does give us a point nonetheless, just to sit back, talk, and, well, divulge exactly what has just took place.
Yeah, well, it was very, very sort of back and forward to start. This does give an opportunity for Flipside to actually buy back up and go for something, but it won't be a huge buy by any stretch. It's sort of risky at this stage. We're yet to see World Edit on the board or on an AWP, and that's the more important factor for me. Whether he'll actually pick it up on the T side, I think he will at some point. It's just whether or not he can actually afford it, and at this stage, he can't. They are going to be able to get AKs on 4 of their 5 players, but it's not on anything crazy. And actually, one of them's glass cannon, which is not really, well, not glass cannon, I suppose glass sprayer or something crazy like that. But yeah, it looks like the technical pause is now sorted. We are going to see this push coming in fairly aggressively over towards underground, and just waiting to see what sort of reaction is had, because a lot of smoke's being thrown out at the moment.
And time is going to be ticking down, not too much taking place just yet. Going to be playing around this utility. We do see Blade is going to be on that aggressive front over towards mid, just pushing through connector. Overall, well, a very decisive stance when it comes down to this mid-control. Dignitas aren't going to be answering this one back just yet. A very passive setup coming to the board from them. Shari, she's going to be creeping around with a pistol, just tapping away, finds a frag on towards Conflict. That's a huge frag for Dignitas to lose very early on, and M4 can be falling straight into his palms. On occasion, we're just going to be trying to bear down over towards Connector, going to be rattling off a couple of shots. Nothing quite going to connect in his favour just yet, but finally hits a shot, takes down Shara, looking for just one more. The flash going to be just popping off. Will, they're going to find one of his own. Rubino just going to be now looking to return the frag, goes for the spray now, connects both headshots there, just doing some huge damage for the Dignitas side of things, as now we're back to a 3 versus 2.
Yeah, this is going to leave things a little bit more questionable. There is a player right next. MSL going to grab one more, and now things are all down to Markelov. We've seen him in these situations many a time. So occasionally may even pull one off, but this is going to be a very difficult one to start off, and it's looking much better already for the CT side. Rubino going to retrieve the AWP of Cajun, and now we're looking towards just this man here. 25 seconds left on the clock. Going to be attempting to go and retrieve the bomb, which is currently in the underground position. Nobody watching it at the moment, but it does leave him very short on time. Going to have to go very aggressively over towards that B site if he wants a plant at all. This will leave one player in his way, and that's going to be Magisk, and he's just ready and waiting. He's got no reason to go for anything aggressive. The flashbang going to be thrown out. Markelov going straight for the bomb plant, but it's not going to happen. Magisk will end his life.
The headshot being delivered right into the palms of his hands, not complaining at all about how that one did unfold. It means that we do hit that 4-2 scoreline, so a 2-round difference starting to kick off. And, well, realistically speaking, that should soon be turned to 3, because you take a look at the flip side economy, well, there really isn't much there at all.
Maybe 5.
They got 2-round difference.
Whatever. Either way, we are going to have that build up into this round. Not anything too crazy in this scenario, and, well, tapping away, almost lost Cajun, but Rubino is there to sort of balance things out. Now it leaves down just 2. They do still have the bomb in their contention, which is something that would be valuable if they could get the plant, but the likelihood of that is getting slimmer by the second. And, well, unless Markelov can do some crazy long-range Glock on our P250, I don't think there's any hope in this round.
Looking fairly bleak, he will just spam away, but unfortunately, well, that 3-round difference, Tom, that we were just discussing, is going to come into effect. They are going to be perched on 5 rounds now. Their economy, well, it's going to be a perfect reflection of just that. $6,400 in the bank of MSL. He's, well, by far the richest player on the Dignitas side, but that doesn't mean that the rest of them aren't doing too well off. We see $3,700 on their lowest player, which, well, is nothing to be complaining about. On the flip side of things, it's 5 rifles on the board, a good chunk of utility to play with. There's certainly an opportunity for them to finally pick up a round. But they have to play this one perfectly, especially taking into account the pressure that Cajun B is putting on the map with this AWP.
Yeah, going to basically play the sort of old role that Carrigan would pick up on Australis. He's going to go aggressive into different scenarios, try and find an early peak, Actually going to move away just at the wrong time. Waylander was ready and even goes for a bit of a spray around the corner, hoping that he'll catch out that AWP. But nothing happening yet. Quite lackluster on the middle control. And this has allowed the T's to actually push all the way up. 3 players on the A side. But they're playing so passively that now, well, they're going to go for a push. Unfortunately, Shower is going to be the first to drop. No real push back just yet. The Molotov will throw out. Waylander grabs one. WorldEdit going to find another, but it still just trades. Cajun doing the work with the AWP. He's now all alone on this site. Doesn't have any sort of support just yet, but now the rotations are going to start to come in. There's WorldEdit throwing out some nades. Markelov just going to be waiting over towards the jungle position to try and hold off any sort of spots. But the bomb, not really dedicated just yet. We actually see it dropped, and Cajun going to now take out WorldEdit as well. And this is getting a little bit problematic. Stuck in sort of opposite sides. There's no real way to actually get out here, and Config ending the life of Markelov is going to make this nigh on impossible. Blade, he has to find 3 players and needs to start this off with the headshot, but it will be Config doing that instead. And again, Cajun, nice work with the AWP, opening 3 different frags up, trading anything back that went the other way, and then Config just closes things down. A really nice start to the dignitized CT side.
It's that sheer seed of doubt that's affecting Flipside in a very uncomfortable manner. And I've got to say, one of the most disappointing factors for me in that round was Markelov. He was in a great position, had an opportunity to have such a nice impact, but he just didn't exist. And unfortunately, that means that, well, we find ourselves looking at Dignitide starting to extend things. They want to run away with their CT side, really starting to kick off a nice performance. And, well, in this round, there's not too much to say. It should be a cut and dry round. Dignitad's already going to kick things off. Rubino just looking for a couple more frags. Config and MSL doing some work for themselves. 1-1, Flipside seem to be falling. Well, they're not even going to find a single frag.
Yeah, really nice start. Much better CT side from Dignitas than yesterday. This time, they are up against an opposition who are likely to have a similar CT side, so they do have to be a little bit careful. WorldEdit finally going to get the AWP in place, so we may now see a competition of the AWPs, and whether or not he is firing on the level we hope to see. If not, then, well, Dignitas have a chance to really start to run away with this one. Winning this round will almost definitely lead to another eco unless we see the bomb plant made. And that would leave them up towards a sort of 9-round scenario where they'd be pretty happy with. Either way, we are going to see a 4-man stack over towards the A site, with only 1 player, Magisk, playing a solo role. Obviously, the new boy in the team playing quite a catalyst position over towards that Mirage B, leaving him alone, but quick rotations on this map, or relatively quick either way, and already we start to see Cajun taking a bit more presence over towards a window, which would allow a much faster rotation. In terms of the Ts, they've almost been allowed to have middle for the majority of these rounds, but it's always Cajun later on that goes for these sort of peaks and tries to ruin any sort of presence he has. Shara managing to take over window room. They are slowly getting more and more map control, but it will be Cajun to find that first frag, and WorldEdit will have no further impact in this round.
I was just about to mention the fact that I wanted to see him try and do something with their AWP on the flip side of things, but the answer's going to be no. Magisk now, he's that catalyst over towards B, and he's popping off with a nice effect. Finds Shara, finds one more, takes down Waylander. Anything else? This is just a bonus now, because flip side, they're left with 2 men standing, Markelov and Blade. They're going to try and take hold of this B site, but Blade, he's not even in position. He will try and find a frag on towards Config, does pull it off. Markelov going to find one of his own, takes down Rubino, but even then it's still a fairly uncomfortable one. Maybe if they can find a frag on towards Magisk, this might just be possible, but the peak will come out from himself. But Markelov, he's going to hit the shot, but finally Magisk will trade things straight back into their grips. It's going to be that 2 versus 1 Blade. He's going to try and find the frag, but Magisk, he's going to peep out once again. And with that peep shot, it's working out huge in his favour. 4 frags on the board.
Yeah, big round for Magisk. The first time they properly attempt to go B, and he shuts things down almost individually. I was a bit surprised that Blade didn't finish him off towards the end. And, well, even now going to switch things up and bring in a double AWP setup, which I wouldn't say is completely necessary just yet, but it does allow a little bit more of a surprise factor over towards that B site. In terms of the buy, they are going to purchase back up. WorldEdit's not going to have an AWP. In fact, he's just going to have a pistol, so really not looking good for this flip side position just yet. But they are going to try and just come back into this one now. Looking for some more mid-aggression. Not really seeing any sort of setup over towards A yet, which could be something a little bit more valuable. Really focusing on that middle control, and Cajun's been very good at ending their lives as they do. Will be a drop of 1 player, WorldEdit will retrieve the rifle, so not the worst case scenario just yet, as they still have the same amount of rifles in play. And now we actually see 2 players booking their way over towards that B-site Palace. MSL, he's been relatively strong over towards his position so far. The stairs are being held as well by Rubino, who will be able to give him the information if anybody peeks. And they have the support of Cajun over towards this connector position, who now takes over the Palace Rain and Rubino's allowed to switch over. So nice team play, really playing things well. Magisk will find one frag. Now Cajun picks up another, and this is just looking like a shutdown. Cajun B is on fire, and it's just going to leave World Edit to fight back.
What can stop this man? Well, he's in a very uncomfortable situation. He might find one, but at this point, I've got to say, it feels all just like a massive consolation scenario, because ultimately, unless he can pull off a huge 1 versus 4, it's going to be a round going in favour of Cajun B, because he's the one just doing so much work for the Dignitas side of things. Yes, we're seeing a couple of the other Dig players pop off and surround him and give him a nice little aura to back him up, but he's the player standing at the top of that board, 14 and 4, constantly pinning down areas of the map with his AWP, just being the man from above that Flipside are going, well, where's he going to play now? Is he going to go towards A? Is he going to play towards B? Is he in mid? Is he towards connector? Where is he? We don't know. How do we respond? We don't know.
Well, more importantly, it's the more standard way that you expect this one to go. It's the MSL at the bottom of the board, just playing the sort of ladder position. And I'm going to be rudely interrupted with a Rubino headshot. Everybody cleaning things up. Wow, this is ridiculously quick round coming out as just trying to force the issue at the moment. Flipside, they're getting dominated, but more in depth, I should say. Config, he's stepping up. Magisk, whenever he's needed, over towards that B site, he's doing the damage. Only 3 deaths, sort of shows that the real reason he's not top fragged is because they're not going that way. In terms of Cajun, he's just sort of playing that rotator role and finding picks all across the shop. Rubino holding those stairs very effectively and setting up a really nice crossfire and even baiting a little bit for MSL to peek out. It's just a really nice setup, and maybe it was just a sort of way that the matchup between Kingwin. Kingwin do seem to have a good matchup against a lot of teams, and, well, looking much better. The pistols are going to come rolling in. Waylander opening up this round quite nicely. Cajun trying to hold the cross, but he has to be careful of stairs, and he is aware. Now looking for one more. Waylander in the corner. However, now comes the flank. This is where the bomb actually comes into play. Needs to hit these shots. There's one. There's another player to the right. They should have known that, and Config is just going to clean up this round. It comes a lot closer than the majority of the others, but really it was just the speed of this round that caught them off a little bit, but not going to hurt their money too much. Look at Config, 16k before the buy came in. Cajun, I think, may have been on somewhat similar a situation, and, well, it's not looking good.
I do want to highlight a player that, well, he might not be having the best performance in this game, but he's also not being allowed it. Magisk, he's over towards B. We mentioned that he was this catalyst player. Well, he's barely dying at all. And, well, it might be evident they're not going towards B, but it means he's not doing anything too stupid, not doing anything crazy, and he's doing the sensible option. We're talking about doing things crazy. It's MSL just going for that aggressive A-ramp probe, gets himself some information, backs off without taking a single piece of damage. And already Flipside in this scenario, well, they're on that tactical back foot.
Yeah, MSL hears the AWP go off over towards that position, tries to aggressively go, and, well, Shara is going to get caught out towards mid, and this is looking like a pretty lackluster performance at the moment from Flipside. A little bit scared. Nice flashbang, going to allow Rubino to get 2. Really well timed, and that's just going to leave 2 players left. Markelov will open the round up a little bit more with a 1-tap, but he does have to watch out for this Cajun position. In fact, Magisk holding the cross as well, ready to defend his teammate, and Blade, well, he may be somewhat of a tactical mastermind, but in this game it doesn't seem that there's any sort of tactics coming out for the flip side of things.
We mentioned right from the get-go that one of these things that would affect this series would be preparation. Currently, Flipside, they're looking underprepared, underwhelming as a whole. Dignitas, on the other hand, well, they are looking very, very strong. The one trap I don't want us to fall into is I don't want us to look at this and go, well, this is the series done and dusted. It's not. Right now, all we're seeing is one player just going absolutely huge, which on the flip side, we also could see, well, we could see World Edit do just that, and just realised the casual pun wasn't actually intended, but, you know.
Yeah, no, the big problem for me is World Edit hasn't even been on the map so far, even not going to get that frag, and that should have been a nice, easy one when holding the angle with an AWP. Rubino going to win that battle up mid, which really is something you wouldn't see too often. Cajun up on the ticket box yet again, going to try and find another frag. The smoke will allow a slightly aggressive push from Blade, but he's got to be very careful, and Rubino playing with confidence, not quite going to get the frag, but does give the information that there's a player in this position, and even takes Blade down to just 5 HP. Now it's still a man advantage. MSL well placed, but Waylander's a little bit quicker on the trigger, and brings it back into a 3 versus 3 scenario. Finally, maybe a round coming in, but Config definitely looking like a much stronger player than yesterday. Finds his second frag of the round and leaves just 2 to deal with.
The biggest problem for Flipside is Blade. He's just 5 HP. He's also the bomb carrier, which means, well, barely anything at this point could drop him on the floor and drop that bomb in a horrible out-of-position situation. It will be Cajun B just delivering a shot straight through the corner of the walls. That bomb is now dropped out of Waylander's grips. And well, if he wants to bring this one back, he's going to have to at least take down Cajun B. From there, try and find a frag on towards Magix, which is now just going to be looking down towards short with that AWP. It means that ultimately, well, Wayladder, how on earth are you going to get yourself back into this one? You're going to be tapping away, trying to find a frag on towards Config, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and this is a complete flip side to what we saw yesterday in the sort of Dignitas game. Yeah, well, we saw that their T side was definitely the stronger of their two sides, which is not something we normally see from any team on this map. And, well, after losing the first half quite significantly, we were a little bit worried. But the fact is, today, it's been the complete opposite. They've absolutely dominated their CT side. They're going on to the T side needing 3 rounds. And while this pistol is nigh on crucial for Flipside, if they want to have any chance of bringing this one back, I would say we have seen this sort of scenario before, and Dignitas can sometimes get a little bit overzealous, but at the same time, this is getting them 1 game away from actually qualifying. And, well, Markelov will start off this round. Well, they're going to find another one. The pistol looking strong so far. Config, with that raid boss scenario, though, still has an opportunity. However, Markelov has brought this back with just 2 men surviving on the Dignitas side for now, and taking the long-range battle, I would not say that's the most viable way to use this Tech 9. MSL will bring one back, though. Leaves World Edit over with the bomb. That is one big factor in this round at the moment, and actually already pushing all the way back into apartments, really trying to just make them work for these frags. World Edit with a nice shot. MSL to fight for this.
Dickens just, they've been executed so far. MSL soon to follow. Waylander to be the man to deliver that final execution. Well, it means that, well, Flipside, they've got themselves a bit of a saving grace. They found themselves another round on the board going into this second half. But the one thing we witnessed was they had a very nice pistol round right at the get-go of this game. We saw Shara going huge with a 3K. So unfortunately, this pistol round win, it's not going to be enough for me to, well, have instilled hope in them just yet. The one nice thing is they do have that huge economical advantage, but Dignitas, well, they're raring to go. And of course, there is no question about this. They are forcing into this one, guns blazing.
Yep, couple of rifles, 3 SMGs, already config down to just 8 HP. It's looking like a decent start at least. The 4 Deagle strategy is back onto that T side, and MSL will spot out World Edit. Not quite going to do, well, much damage. Hits him down 17 HP, but not anything to really rave about, especially when 92 damage has been done onto Config already in this round. Blade going to throw out a bit of a flash. Will catch 3 players blind, but doesn't go for anything too aggressive here. Spamming away, going to go for a bit of a peek, and now he should take the first, but Cajun's quickly there to trade, so not the worst case scenario. One of the SMGs will be dropped. Looking for a little bit more as well, Edit, and he actually has a rifle in hand, so has to be a little bit careful. He'll go down. No, actually, it was an SMG. It's the rifle on Markelov over next to him, but HP is the big problem at the moment for Dignitas. They may have the man advantage, but it will only take a pittance of damage to take the majority of their team out of the round, and already we're sealing them for 1 by 1. Cajun, the last alive, 2 HP. Does have a Deagle. If he could drop one more, that would be nice.
Even then, that might just be a bit of a stretch. He's got a target painted on the back of Waylander. But of course, as you mentioned, it's only just a tiny crumb of damage for enough to be him to fall. That means that 13-4 scoreline, it has come into effect. Flipside, they're making this pistol round stick and bearing with the results, which means we should now be seeing them make it to 5. But the worrying prospect for me is that it's all going to come down to these buy rounds. So overall, not going to read too much into things just yet. Looking at these Glocks to see if maybe they can find themselves a bomb plant just by rushing a site, or maybe utilizing a bit of utility. But they've gone for nothing at all. It's going to be just flat Glocks, only 1 flash in play, which means even that might just be a bit of a difficult task to accomplish.
Yeah, Blade in the prime position. Going to be spraying away. Not quite getting too much damage done yet, but now we see the crossfire coming in. He'll finish off one more. Config will be the only player pushing out of ramp, and, well, it's going to take one hell of a lot of damage. Almost manages to take World Edit, who does go for a bit of a knife to earn some extra money for that AWP. But other than that, they're not going to see too much. And now we see the buy coming in for both teams. World Edit will upgrade straight to that AWP. Definitely going to be looking for that. Waylander seems to be the only player on their team actually on the map at the moment, so definitely looking for a few more players. Markelov, Shara to step up, and, well, looking at the other side of things, they definitely have 3 big catalysts of this game, all sitting at the 3, 4, and 5 spot. Cajun beat Rubino and Config, but here goes an aggressive push from World Edit. Has to be very careful here. Clearly still feeling confident, but needs to find a frag, and he misses the shot, and that could be it for him. Rubino's going to open up one, and everything falls apart at once for Flipside. Rubino, Cajun B, 2 players mentioned already, and this leaves just Sharon Waylander to stop them getting to 14.
Well, they've just turned that mid-area into an absolute bloodbath. And as you said, just 2 players to hold this one off. This is exactly what I was scared about for the flip side. Because, well, what can they do here? It's a 2 versus 5 situation. That bomb just going to be ticking away. And every second lost, well, it's every shred of hope being taken down. But Shara, he's in a nice position to take down this AWP. Is going to do just that. Just rattling off a couple of shots. Does the damage to Cajun B. Going to be looking for just a little bit more. But now Marcel, he's going to be aware of position. They're going to be looking directly towards him. Magic's actually the man to steal that frag away. And that means that now the pressure all going to be on Waylander, and he's just going to be cut round from behind. Well, they brought it to 14-5. A very nice buy round coming out on the board. Flip side, they have a little bit of money to play with. That's going to be one nice thing. But now the pressure really is on, because if they lose this one, Dignitas will make themselves onto 15, and Flip side will have nothing left to buy up into.
Yeah, they will manage to get the AWP back onto World Edit, so still waiting to see, well, anything from him at this point. Hasn't been that sort of catalyst player, that big player that we've hoped to see. A player who can drop a redonkulous amount of kills on trains sometimes, and a player who can bring this team from being sort of tier 2 up to that sort of higher standard. But at the same time, it's a long, long road back at the moment. Blade would have to almost put some sort of mind control craziness on them to bring them back from this point. Say, no, guys, it's all good. Play 1 round at a time. Either way, have got a more standard setup at this point, looking over towards that middle position. They don't want to give it away as easily as they did last time, and it's going to be a 3-pronged attack. Rubino will be pushing out from the underpass section and going to be looking to see if he can open things up. A little bit of spam going to go into connector, and actually already we see the fallback of some of these players not wanting to give away an early frag. Blade, well, he's surrounded by smoke at this point in time, and Markelov seems to have a bit of an inkling, but Blade, he's already getting tagged so low, 11 HP. There goes Config to pounce as well, and this again is going to be that mid-battle, but there's World Edit, finally managing to trade one back. It takes a long time for them to really get themselves rolling at this stage, and, well, it's still a 4v4 with HP, nades, and the majority of just anything in the advantage of Dignitas. The only thing they have is time.
My one concern with this flip side setup is the position of Blade. We want a high HP player. There's someone who can just tap away on heads and not be cornered. And while Waylander, he might be there to support his teammate. That smoke is going to be going down. Blade going to be pushing him right behind them. But as expected, the sprays will come in. Magic's and himself finding one of their own. Waylander, he will do some damage, but it might just not be enough. It's going to be a 3 versus 2. Rubino just going to be securing that bomb plant. There is nowhere for World Edit to look. He will get punished, taken down by MSL. And now Shara, well, you have to pull out a miracle because you need these 3 frags. Otherwise you're going into a round with just Glocks.
Well, maybe not Glocks.
Just light pistol. They're going into a round with basically kind of backstone. They might as well run around backwards holding S in terms of their economy. It's just going to be non-existent. But Shara, the one nice thing, he has a Lem 4 at least. That's something.
I wouldn't even say that's much of a saving grace. He's going to go for the save in this exact scenario. But Dignitas, they need 1 round. They are going to have next to nothing in the next. And, well, did they win both pistols?
Yeah, Flipside have won both pistols.
That is just this considering both pistols have won. This is one of the worst scorelines I think I've ever seen on Mirage. Like to win both pistols and have 5 rounds, you expect at least 6 just off winning the pistols. So it really is a crazy sort of scenario at the moment for Flipside. Not coming up big at all. Not really showing any sort of their prowess, or just in CS in general. And the big problem is, for me, they're going to be moving on to Overpass, which is not a map that Dignitas exactly hate. It's a map that they're very happy to play.
Well, at this point, I've got to say, I feel like Flipside might as well just have these Glocks, because they aren't going to be able to get close unless they can, well, utilise their utility. But even then, there's not too much for them to play with. I do feel like it's enough, but it comes down to how they choose to play things, and already Waylander going to be the first to fall. Dignitas, if they play these long ranges, just utilise the AWP, utilise the tapping ability of the rifles. There should be nowhere for them to run. Occasionally, going to find himself another frag. Finally, Markelov going to pick things up for the flip side. But even then, looking fairly rough. A minute on the clock. Flip side in a 4 versus 3. I've seen it done in the past with these pistols.
Oh, that was nice.
But another shot just coming in from Cajun B. He's just playing so damn well in this series. Shara, he's going to find one with the M4, but Cajun B going to find another frag. Makes it 4. And well, wow. 23 and 10 to close that one out.
A very impressive series across the board from Dignitas. Their CT side was very strong. You consider that they lost both pistols, and only losing 5 rounds really does show how much they really dominated that game. maybe need to work a little bit on their pistol rounds to get that to a straight 16-0, but there really isn't any sort of saving grace for the flip side. They're just played really, really poor all the way across the board. There was no one really stepping up except for maybe Wayland, or even then it wasn't enough to win them too many rounds. And now sort of going on to the next map, yes, it's Overpass, yes, it's a map that Flipside are very capable of playing, but a lot of that, again, relies on that sort of World Edit or Pink style, taking those early peaks on the CT side. Either way, we will be back in just a moment to actually talk this one through when we do go on to map 2, Overpass.
E-Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Play CSGO? Discover more than 5 various kinds of bets just for a single map. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.
Getting tired of playing with the usual skins, but don't have enough money to buy a new one? Get rich fast with CSGoFast.com. CSGoFast. It's a strong chance of winning in every game. Several rooms with different game modes. Daily, more than 1,000 games, 5,000 players, and 25,000 skins at stake. You don't need much in order to sweep the board.